Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know I look different again because now I have a beard. First it was the hair, now it's the beard. I'm changing in every video, it's kind of crazy. Today I have a book haul for you guys that I wanted to share of some books that I recently got, and I'm hoping that they can help me get out of a reading slump that I feel like I've been stuck in for most of this year so far. This has not been a great reading year. I've been stuck on like 2 books the entire year basically, and just haven't been where I wanted to be with my reading goals. I've been finding it really hard to just find motivation to read sometimes, and also make videos. It's kind of hard. So hopefully this book haul just gets me excited to read again and will help me hopefully get out of this slump. So without further ado, let's talk about the books that I have. So the first 2 books that I have here are fantasy, basically adult high fantasy. So this book is the first book of the Wheel of Time series called The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, and he is the author of The Wheel of Time, and then after he passed away, Brandon Sanderson took over like finishing the series and continuing to write it. So it has 2 authors that are really well known for fantasy writing, and I don't know much about this series. I've heard about it before. It seemed interesting, but I just never got around to picking it up. According to like this little sticker, apparently it's going to be like an Amazon Prime show at some point. So if they are making a TV show out of it, I would like to read the books first. So what I understand about the series is that its theme is sort of the cycle of ages, or the cycle of civilization, really, of the rise, the golden age, then like the decline and fall and collapse, and then like rebirth again. So that's kind of what I got from reading just the back of the cover. I really have no idea what this is about. Like the back of the book is so vague, so I really don't know much about the series, but I've heard that it's really good. I like the name of it, The Wheel of Time, but this looks like a really cool series that's piqued my interest, so if the first book is any good, then I might consider reading the rest of the series. The next book in my book stack is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, I don't know. I'm never sure how to pronounce his name. I think it's John Gwynne. This is an epic fantasy that takes place in a Norse-inspired world, so it is very like Viking-esque and Scandinavian, and draws, I think, a lot from Scandinavian folklore. And it follows 3 main characters: a huntress, a noblewoman, and a slave, or what they call a thrall, because that was the Norse word for it, a slave or servant. So there's 3 like characters and I guess 3 plot lines that are all going to converge. And there's this band of mercenaries called the Bloodsworn, and the name of the series is The Bloodsworn, so I guess that's like the main theme, and the main characters are part of this. And what I've heard about this book is that it's a very grim like war story, which is cool. I love a gritty like just Viking war story, so I'm hoping that I will enjoy this book. Great to go into a book just not knowing anything about it, just knowing the bare minimum, because then you can be like surprised if you really enjoy it. You may not like have expectations, so that actually is kind of a benefit. At the very least, like piqued your interest enough that you wanted to read it. So yeah, I don't know a lot about these books, and I'm sorry if I'm not explaining them really well. And in keeping with the Viking theme, the next 3 books I got are historical fiction, and they're part of the series called The Saxon Chronicles, or The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell, and this is one of my favorite series ever. I fell in love with the series when I started reading it last year. I've watched the TV show, it's on Netflix, and I think they're getting ready to produce like the final season of it, but the books are fantastic. And so it's a historical fiction that's set in 9th century England during the Viking Age. The main character, Uhtred of Bebbanburg, who is an English warrior who sometimes he fights for the English and sometimes he fights for the Vikings. It just depends on like what his goal is. This series is just so good. So these are the next like 3 books in the series. I already have like the first 5, and these are just the next 3. So we have The Death of Kings, and then The Pagan Lord, and Warriors of the Storm. It is probably the best like historical fiction I've ever read. Not that I've read much of it, but like from this era of like the Viking era, I guess. This is like some of the best. Bernard Cornwell does such a good job of making everything like as historically accurate as he can, even with some drama and storytelling themes, obviously, that wouldn't be present there. And at the end of each book, he writes a sort of historical note where he explains how some events and battles actually did happen historically, and so he explains how he tweaked something or changed something so that he could fit his characters into it. And I just really love the narration. Uhtred is narrating the story basically about himself, kind of like retelling the story of his life. It's just cool to watch him grow as a person, as a character, and just how he develops his skills, his mindset, his philosophy. It's just really like cool to follow. I relate to him a lot. He's one of my favorite like literary characters, and I just really enjoyed this series, so I'm looking forward to finishing it. I think Bernard Cornwell has released the final book, so it's a completed series now, so I'm excited to read the rest of it, and I'm not really sure what I feel about the TV show. As you would expect, the books are way better than the TV show, and I mean, like, when is that not the case, honestly? The books just have such a sense of epicness. Like, they feel so epic and heroic, whereas the TV show definitely feels more like a historical drama, more on the level of something like Outlander. But I really enjoy this series. It's become one of my favorite series ever, and I'm really excited to finish it. The next like group of books here are mystery thrillers, which is a genre that's a little bit new to me because I don't normally read thrillers. I usually like to read fantasy and sci-fi or just nonfiction, so I'm not really used to reading thrillers, but it seems to be what's really popular right now. I mean, maybe I'm just late to the party, but I've noticed thrillers seem to be like really in right now. So I picked up a few mystery thriller books that looked pretty interesting. So this book is called Tombland by C.J. Sansom. This is a historical fiction murder mystery novel that's set in 1500s Tudor England, and our main character is a lawyer named Matthew Shardlake, and he, I guess, is like the Sherlock Holmes or Hercule Poirot type of investigator from basically the 1500s period. So this book takes place a few years after the death of King Henry VIII, and when a member of the royal family, who I think is related to Anne Boleyn, is murdered, our main character comes in and he has to investigate it and try and solve the murder. And as he's doing that, more murders happen as the killer tries to like cover their tracks, and so he has to basically solve the case. It's your standard like mystery novel formula. I like the time period this is set in. I don't think there's a lot of mystery novels that are really set like this far back in history. I know obviously like Agatha Christie are some of the biggest ones, and those are in like 1950s, and then you have just like other various mystery novels throughout different time periods, but I don't think I've read anything that takes place in like the Renaissance and Middle Ages and Enlightenment period. So that's kind of interesting. And I found out that this is like a whole series of books that this author has written about this character, Matthew Shardlake. And so this is just one of his mystery adventures. And so I guess you have like a whole series, kind of episodic stories of his mysteries. The next thriller is a book called The Terminal List by Jack Carr, who is a retired Navy SEAL. So this follows a Navy SEAL who has just like returned from like a military tour, and his entire family and all of his team is murdered, and so he's out for revenge, and he decides that he's going to go rogue and basically take matters into his own hands. It sounds really interesting, and this is like a 5-book series, and I've watched a few interviews with Jack Carr on YouTube, and he seems like a really cool guy, so I am interested to see if I will enjoy this book. I'm not usually a fan of like military, modern warfare type of stories, but this gives me a lot of like Jason Bourne type of vibes, and I really enjoyed those movies and just some other kind of spy espionage type of stuff. So this seems like this could be pretty cool. This next book, I don't really know if it's like a mystery or just like urban fantasy, but it's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab or Victoria Schwab. Now I know this book has been all over. This book is definitely like a hype book. I've seen this all over Instagram and YouTube. Everyone's been talking about this book, and I wanted to jump on the hype train too. So this story is about a woman named Addie LaRue, and I guess she makes a deal with the devil and like trades her soul for immortality, but the catch is that everyone forgets that she exists, and so she lives for like 300 years, and then she finally meets somebody that remembers her. It's kind of a cross between that movie called Age of Adelaide and the story of Dr. Faust, which also had like a similar plot of they make a deal with the devil for like infinite knowledge or something like that, and in return he's like damned or something. I don't remember. I've not read it, but I know what it is, and I know that's like where the term Faustian comes from. So I'm very interested to see how the author like interweaves the themes of like both of those things into this book. So I'm excited to read it, and I know this book has been like super hyped up. It sounds like a perfect read for fall when everything gets like spooky and mystical again. This next book is another like mystery novel that's also been really hyped up lately. It is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. But this follows a family of like really famous surfers in California, and it's like the 1980s, and it follows this family over like the period of a whole day, maybe not even 24 hours, just like a whole day of them leading up to this big end of the summer party. And I guess each of them has their own desires and emotional sentiments and drama that they're dealing with, and I guess it's just leading up to this big party, and then like what happens afterwards, and how it happened is I guess the mystery. 1980s Southern California summertime is honestly like a vibe. It gives me like Lana Del Rey summertime sadness vibes, kind of. Like, I don't know, that's what I'm thinking of. So I hope I enjoy this book as well. This next book is a sci-fi thriller, and it is Andy Weir's new book, Project Hail Mary. And this is a like space survival thriller. It follows this astronaut named Ryland who is on a voyage light years away from our solar system, and he wakes up from like a hypersleep, I guess, and finds the entire crew of his ship is dead. So he's all alone, and he has to figure out how to survive while being basically adrift amongst the stars in the middle of interstellar space. I guess figuring out like how to get home, or maybe how to complete his mission. This sounds like such a cool premise, and The Martian is one of my favorite books ever. And I read Artemis, Andy Weir's other novel, a couple years ago, and I didn't enjoy it that much. It was more of a like heist story, and it takes place on the moon, and I just thought it was okay. It wasn't one of my favorite books ever. This book definitely sounds more in line with The Martian, with just being like a space survival story, and the cover art of this is just awesome looking. Except for the fact that they always ruin these books with like these stickers that you can't get off because it's like part of the print. But like the cover art looks pretty awesome though, and actually this is originally what caught my attention when I saw it in the bookstore. They say never to judge a book by its cover, but like for real, everyone does that. So this book like snagged my attention right away when I saw it. So I'm excited to read this. Sci-fi is one of my favorite genres. As you know, like my channel name and everything is based around like the stars and space and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to reading this because it sounds really cool. So here's my book haul, and I'm really excited to read these books. I hope that they just get me motivated to read again and get out of this reading slump. So let me know if you guys would like to see maybe some reading vlogs of me like reading these books and giving you live reactions and commentary to them. Or anything like that. Let me know what kind of content you'd like to see on the channel, if there's anything in particular that you'd like to see me make, or if you have any book recommendations, just like leave a comment down below or tell me what it is you're reading right now, and just, I don't know, say hi. You know, let's catch up a little bit because it's been a while. All of my socials are linked below in the description if you want to follow me on Instagram or Goodreads. I'm trying to decide if I should make a TikTok or not, because I know that like book talk is now a thing and everyone is talking about it now. Maybe should I just like make stuff on Instagram Reels? Because I think a lot of people like cross-post TikToks and Instagram Reels. So let me know in the comments which one you're more active on and which one you think I should make, if I should do like TikTok or just do Instagram Reels. Trying to figure it out. I don't know yet. But that's all I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.